probably a little bit too much.
Totally understood.
With that, your coverage on Fox 31 and Channel 2 for your Sports Extra show, after you showed the highlights, when you started analyzing the game, did you talk A, about how Bo Nix played, B, how they didn't run the ball enough, specifically at the beginning, or did you talk about what was a historic defensive performance in a season opening game for the Broncos? What was your first piece of analysis out of the gate?
Mine was Mike McGlinchey's remark of, thank God we have the defense that we have, which is a backhanded way of getting into the criticism of the offense and the offensive line, which he was more than willing to provide us. Believe me, there was self-introspection going on in that locker room. So my first thought was exactly his. Thank God that this defense played the way that they did and controlled the game the way that they, otherwise they lose this football game.
But what I'm asking, I understand what your piece was on.
Mm-hmm.
But the focus of the piece was on the offense. Is that fair to say?
Yes, it eventually got around to the offense and
Did you spit out
a little bit of the special teams. Yes.
In your piece, were you spitting out facts? They gave up 135 yards of offense to the Titans. They turned the ball over this many times, quarterback pressures. Did you gloss over it? Or did you pretty much dive right into the offense?
Well,
let's just make this quick. So
I think you know me pretty well. I get right into the weeds immediately. So,
and the weeds were what?
Well, the weeds were, weeds.
The offense.
Yeah,
is that fair to say?
The weeds are the offense.
Okay.
And you obviously you hit on -2 yards in the second half. Creating 2 turnovers. You get into 132 total yards, no touchdowns.
But the first thing out of the gate, Bruce, I'm trying to get to a point.
I know, but I don't think that you're going to get me because I talked about the defense.
I'm not trying to get you. I'm
Right.
saying on the show that you produce that's in the can and over with.
Right.
When you as a group, as a sports team, started analyzing the game, what was the first thing that you talked about?
That we got into would be offense. Yes. You
are eternally optimistic as a person. I am far more cynical. Why, as a society, in the media and in a fan base, do we gravitate so hard towards the negative first instead of talking about what was a dominant and historic Broncos defensive performance in the opener? Why do we tend to focus more on the negative in a win?
Because it tends to be more conversational, and it tends to be, and when there are things that are perceived as lacking, you're looking for the things that will help to repair that. When something is going well, you count on that, probably to a fault. You count on, this is what we're going to hang our hat on. We know they're going to be good defensively every day. We know Nikola Jokic is going to be great every day. So you start to look at the things around it. Okay, well, what do we need to correct? What needs to be next? What kind of hole needs to be filled that we can ascertain? And that becomes the great meat on the bone for talk radio or for just people covering the event on television. It's a very easy road to go down.
Now that we are well over 24 hours past the game, you are out shopping at Whole Foods or you're at the station and people are walking up to you in the news department wanting to know your thoughts on the game. I'm guessing those people that talked to you wanted to talk about Knicks, the offense, and the fact that they didn't try and establish a run. Is that fair to say?
Yes, I would say so.
But why is that a societal thing? I understand we're talking about it because we want this to be fixed so they can be better. But why do we not embrace what's great instead of pointing out what's wrong after a win and a historic performance. This is more of a philosophical discussion than it is about sports, because as a society, we always want to look at the glass as being half empty.
Yeah.
Instead, I mean, let's look at yesterday's show. We probably, of the 40 minutes, probably spent 34 of those talking about the offense.
Okay.
When I did the show with Nate on Gorilla yesterday, after the show was over, we were looking for clips to put out on social media. And almost the entire thing was on Sean Payton's play calling and how Bo Nix played and so on and so forth. And I'm like, we hardly have any clips about how great the defense was. I'm as guilty of it as anybody. But why do we tend to do that?
I just want it noted that the very beginning of our show yesterday, the very first thing we actually did talk about, and we can go back and play it again, was that I felt I was in the witness of potentially the greatest room that I've seen, the greatest unit that I've seen. And we talked about it in terms of, hey, it's a 60-minute snapshot, because each week that's what we have. We have a 60-minute snapshot of what we have just seen. And we started the show off talking about, my thought was, am I seeing the best unit that I've ever covered? And remember, you and I talked about it. We talked about the Chiefs and some of the units they've had, because you and I come from that, and you go back to Buffalo. My God, you've seen some pretty damn good, offenses and defenses in Buffalo and Chicago before that. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is recognition of that, but you immediately, and to your point, and you're right, you immediately go to, yeah, but what's wrong?
Right.
And I think it's just a natural inclination, and it allows people to banty back and forth. I mean, what are you and I going to talk about after the stating of the obvious? Look how damn good this defense is. Great. We're in agreement. We can sit and blow sunshine up each other's backside all day long on something that is a statement of the obvious. What's not so obvious is what the hell is going on with the offense right now, and what are we expecting with Bo Nix? This is a guy that wasn't turning the ball over at all last year down the stretch, and he had 2 in one game, 3 really.
It's funny because I've been doing this for a long time, podcast, sports talk, radio, TV, as have you. Truth is, if a team is on an 8-game winning streak in football, you kind of run out of things to talk about. Because how many more times can you say they're playing great, right?
Yeah.
With that, I don't know if you remember this, but way back in the day, there was a television station in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they did a new format. It was called Good News. All they wanted to do was report on good news, nothing negative. Murders, nope, not going to have that in the show. This not going well. Not going to have that. It's only going to be positive. I mean, how many fireman shots can you have of a guy running up a tree and getting a cat out of it?
Saving a cat, right.
And, oh, by the way, how well did that network do? It had the shelf life of milk. It folded pretty quickly. Negativity, sadly, in our society sells. If all we did was talk positively on sports talk radio about our teams to a point of being borderline fanboy, I think the ratings would be terrible.
I agree. I think that there has to be, and when you have give and take between 2 hosts in particular, or a collection of guys, you're searching for answers. Now, I'm not going to get into politics and things and medicine and things that are way above my pay grade.
Right.
Sports is my wheelhouse, and it's the plaything of communications. I mean, it's not life and death stuff. We're just talking about a team and how they can get better. I mean, if we're breaking down a run game, for goodness sakes, I'm glad to be doing that instead of, what the hell is going on in Gaza. I mean, seriously, I mean, so anyway, I think those are the types of things that make sports talk in particular pretty compelling, because every now and then, jugheads like you and I come up with something that maybe might provoke some thought from someone out there watching, listening, whatever the case may be. Every now and then we fall onto something that is like, wow, that kind of makes sense to me.
So we have worked with enough news directors in television where when there's a big snowstorm, it is Christmas for that news director. Let's get everybody out there. The beast is out there. And then you have, a reporter out there. They've got a yardstick and they stick it in the snow to show you how many inches it is. And then you have my favorite story. Here are 5 tips on how to stay warm during this cold snap. Like, I didn't know to dress warmly, but thank you for putting it on a full screen. My point is that when weather drives ratings, is that fair to say?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, would weather drive ratings if every day it was 75 degrees and sunny? No. People want to see other people's homes get torn up by tornadoes.
Oh, well,
that sells.
Okay.
Hurricanes. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
It's negative is my point.
Yeah.
Negativity sells. Negativity gets ratings. Negativity generates eyeballs. So if we spent 40 minutes yesterday talking about Nick Bonito and Zach Allen and Hufanga and so on and so forth, I don't know if I could talk a full 40 minutes about that. Maybe that's the cynic in me. But the truth is, Bruce, I love you to pieces. I don't know if you could talk 40 minutes about the defense.
No, I mean, you get your early burst out of the way, and that's it. I mean, it's like, as long as there are no injuries and they're a unit that, I think it sounds like we're going to see Dre Greenlaw practicing again this week. We may see him next weekend in Indianapolis. Who knows? But there's not that. You have your moment of awe, the appreciation of what creates the awe. And then after that, you go on to the next thing, because you know what? You know what you're going to get from Pat Surtain and Zach Allen and Nick Bonito. You know what you're going to get from Talanoa Hufanga and Brandon Jones. And the list goes on and on. If you can set your watch to it, who the hell wants to just look at a watch? I mean, I want to know what time it is. Give me the time on the offense. What the hell's going on with that?
When you have a conversation about sports, your runway is a lot longer for that conversation when it starts with what went wrong than what went right.
Right. Yeah.
Sad, but true. And you are the eternal optimist. And the fact that you even agree about that is something, because you are far less cynical and you are happy for the most part all of the time. But even guys like you get caught up in that undertow where you get sucked under with the negativity.
Well, when there are things that you don't understand and why they happen, those are the things that vex me. I feel like I have a fairly good understanding of what I'm going to see going into a game. My God, I spend every day of the week watching this stuff. I should have a fairly good understanding of what I'm about to see. And then when you don't see that, or when things don't happen in a logical fashion for you, those are things that you want to get answers to so that you can understand why you didn't see the things you thought you were. Yeah. And then on top of it, if you throw in a little controversy will always sell, right? Because it creates different pools of thought. And those pools can push and tug against one another, and it makes for entertainment. And as long as it's sports, it shouldn't be damaging, right?
Do me a favor, real quick.
Sure.
Answer this question quickly.
Okay.
Do you think the Broncos are essentially a year away from really being serious Super Bowl contenders?
Yes, I have said that pretty much from the start.
With that, I hate to break it to you, and I have this bad feeling I might be right. You are about to become the Don Mattingly of Denver sportscasters.
Yes.
Don Mattingly started his career with the Yankees in 1982. He retired in 1995. He started, in 82, the year before the Yankees won the World Series. He retired in 95. The following year, 96, the Yankees won the World Series.
Right.
Your first year here, the year after they won the Super Bowl. Why do I have a feeling as you barrel towards retirement, and this is your final Broncos season, that the season that you are no longer covering the team, they're going to win the Super Bowl, and you're going to become Don Mattingly?
You know what? I'll take it. Don Mattingly was one of those guys that almost got there. And if I can summarize my career and compare it to Don Mattingly, I'll take the comparison. Not quite a Hall of Famer. Not quite a Hall of Famer, but you know what?
Dude, don't pump your own tires. I'm not talking about you as a sportscaster. I'm talking about the timing of it.
The timing of it. It's conspicuous. There's no question about it. And it has been conspicuous. And don't think that I didn't take it from some of my comrades. But finally, when they did get into the playoffs last year, I was relieved to no longer been, well, yeah, you're the good luck charm. You know,
you are the good luck charm when you leave.
Yes,
what year did you leave? What was your first year here? 2016.
2016. I got here right after the parade.
Okay.
Right after the parade in 2016.
You got here after the parade. You started working here in 2016. And what did the Chiefs do in the draft in 2017?
Well,
they drafted Mahomes.
They drafted their future.
Right.
Yep.
You are the common denominator for if you're here, bad things happen. If you're no longer here, good things happen. You are the jinx. Think about that. You covered a lot of Chiefs teams that were rarely Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so right when you leave, they become Super Bowl contenders. And right when you get to Denver, they fall flat on their face. Can you retire in the next couple of weeks?
Yes. Can I be graceful and get out for the good of the franchise?
Yes.
I need to make that happen. Well, we'll see how it goes.
You're a jinx. That's going to do it for us.
Worse.
That's going to do it for us. Hot Takes, Goodman and Haertl. Make it the best possible day you can.